Hey guys. Hey Kaz. Hello, Callie.
Hello.
We have a special guest, guys. Kaz, who is she? Oh, you're muted.
Oh, boo boo.
You're muted.
This lovely lady that we have up on panel tonight is Callie, and she is the advocate for the gorgeous, precious little boy DeOrr Kunz. And she is justice for baby DeOrr. As every body may or may not know, Ma has covered baby DeOrr in quite a few videos, and Callie is going to tell us what Justice for Baby DeOrr is all about and why she's here tonight. So, Callie, I'll hand it over to you.
Welcome, Callie.
Yeah. Well, I'm Callie. I work on Baby DeOrr's case. I'm an advocate for him. I do my best to share everything we can to keep his case live. He was national news at one point, and my goal is to get him back to that. This case has bothered me and baffled me from the very beginning, and to this day, there's still answers that need to be told. So my goal is to just keep his face out there and the case moving forward as best as I can. So we have been able to do such at sometimes. So at this point, there's a page for him, justiceforbabydeorr.com. You can go there and learn all about his case facts. It is built just for that, for one place. 5 years, 7 years now. It's a lot of stuff to put in all over Facebook, all over this and that. I thought it was really important to put it all in one place. So I hope you can check that out. Again, if you have any questions, you can contact me at justiceforbabydeorr@gmail.com. And at this moment, yeah.
So you are going to talk about there's somebody that you guys want back on the case.
Yes, we are trying to get Philip Klein back on the case. He's willing to come back on. He was sued out of the case, and his lawyers advised him and his staff to leave and to just drop it. They can't drop it. In the back of their minds, the case haunted them every night. Just like many of us, we sit there and wonder what's going on with this case. How can it go forward? Right now, Klein is we're halfway there. We're about halfway there to get him back. He's looking for 25,000, and he put in 5,000, dropped it 5,000, so it's like down to 20. And then we've got some donations that had dropped it down to we're at 12,000 right now, and we need a little over 13,000 left to get him on board. He's hoping to come back by this year before the snow comes, and then and if the snow comes by then and he's not on the case, he will come back by spring or early next year. So there's a plan in place that we have this year and next year to, at this moment, get him on. And I think because we're really close, that it's going to happen,
Yeah, we'll get Phil back. Phil was great.
Yeah.
I think Phil was so close that they got rid of him, the parents, because they knew that he knew exactly what happened to DeOrr.
Yeah. He had a lot of plans to search other places prior to getting out of the case, and that's where he wants to pick up. He wants to pick up where he left off, and he wants to search these places that have not been searched on and off the mountain. There's he's got cadaver dogs already in place, ready to go up there. He's got a staff, so it's going to cost travel. It's a flight, and it's not a flight for just one person. It's a flight for dogs. It's a flight for multiple people, food, lodging, everything else. I mean, that stuff just adds up, especially these days. So I kind of agree with the amount. And I mean, of course, nobody wants to see any dollar amount for someone to come back. They just want them to come in and solve the case. That's just not how it works. I know we've all raised the money before for him to come, and it's really not his fault that he had to leave. So, if he wants to go through all there's so much drama back in that day, So the last thing he wants is more drama. So, I think that not asking, but giving a price for him to come back would be beneficial for DeOrr's case. I
Yes.
think that it shows that we
Cost
care.
money.
Yeah, it shows that we care enough, you know, and why should we ask Klein to come back for free when he put in all that other money, you know? So I think it's fair. And I appreciate that he was able to drop it 5,000. So you know, that helps us out a little bit. So
I like Phil. I spoke to him. Hey Jen H. Hey
yeah.
Nay. Hey Andy.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like this
So
is
you've been on DeOrr's case from day one, you said. Day one. You've been watching it, following it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was laying on the couch when I saw his breaking news, and my daughter, same age, running around, and all of a sudden he's just missing, and I was like so worried over the weekend. I'm just like, gosh, is it cold? Is he scared? You know, I mean, I literally identified with that age group at that moment, and then I saw the parents interview the following Monday, and I just knew at that moment, in my gut feeling, I didn't think we were looking for a missing child anymore. So, you know, that's kind of where I kind of stepped in and just like paid more attention. It really wasn't until 2017 that I got really tired of the case continuing to not be solved, and I stepped in and I, you know, made contact with family members and asked questions and all that other stuff. And you know, the more I learned, even talking to the father, you know, I'm not sure if you guys remember the client, the lug nut stories that,
Yeah.
you don't
So
remember
you
lug nut
spoke to Vernon?
Yeah, where he said that the baby was walking around counting lug nuts and he noticed one was missing and all that stuff. It was just kind of like a huge story. Well, that story he told me also, but he placed a car in a driveway. So I had to ask him, did this happen in a driveway or did you take your car to camp? Because there's no car mentioned at camp. He changed it really quickly and changed the scenery and skipped the subject. So I made a formal statement, got it notarized, sent it into all the places that I need to send it in. That's another reason why I can't go anywhere, because I know there's a difference in stories. I've heard them. And I've donated so much time of this to, I've taken time from my family, friends, work, whatever I've got to do to actually put in the effort to make a page, to share, to do all these things that I can't pull out now. You know, I'm stuck.
But
and
you're
I'm
doing
happy
it
where
from your heart.
Yes, very much so. I'm doing it because I love
I can
children.
tell.
I love children, and this little boy has grabbed my heartstrings for sure. You know, I mean, I'm reminded every year, at least twice a year, by his birthday and a missing date, regardless of the days that count, you know, that he's missing. It's a constant reminder. And then of course I have to update things. So I'm constantly in it. And I really want to see this case solved. So that's the goal here, is to definitely get Klein back. I think we could do that.
Oh, I know we can. So
Yeah.
why don't you tell us then, you said that you were going to talk to us about the timeline that you have, and then you were going to talk to us about the discrepancies that you found in your timeline. That's what I'm very interested in.
I know, right? So, okay, so the timeline's kind of big and it's long. So I'm looking at it right now. You know, what day do you want to start? Because there's
Start in the beginning of your timeline.
All right, I'll start on Wednesday.
And
Wednesday,
whatever
July
you don't
8th.
feel that needs to be there, the hey sassafras, that's part of it, then this is your timeline. What you want us to know on your timeline that's important to you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have to say that there's times where Klein thinks that he will go back 2 days from the day that he actually went missing. So that kind of puts me on a Wednesday. We haven't really discussed on exactly how he got to Wednesday. So Wednesday was the last day he was actually seen by any family members, including his aunt, who lived above them in a kind of like an apartment setting. Trina, the grandmother, had seen him earlier in that day, packing a camper, seen him jumping around, doing all that stuff. However, when I reached Trina, she said that her work schedule, she was working from, what was it? Let's see, 3, she didn't get off work till 5:30, 5:45 p.m. that day. So she states that at 3 o'clock, she was playing with DeOrr in the camper on Wednesday. So that's a little interesting. Aunt Lynn, says that Vernal had come to her house at the end of the night to pick Jessica and the baby up. I don't understand that either because they live downstairs. They could have just walked downstairs. So did he take them somewhere? I don't know. There's no timeline for that night. There's no proof that they slept under the same roof.
And real quick, I forget I know the day, but what is the day? This is Wednesday. So what was it? The Saturday or Friday were they supposedly heading to the campground?
Thursday the night.
So we're going back Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, we're going back Wednesday. So Wednesday's the last time he was seen. So that's when you take the timeline back. The last time he was seen by a whole different family member on a different side of the family member, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. So, let's see, Thursday. Okay, so in Jess's written statements, she writes a lot of stuff. Like, she overkills it. Like, I have to say that. She overkills her statement. And that's kind of like a lead to saying that you were putting too much information in there that's not asked of you. She said that she went to the store with Grandpa and the baby. At another time, she says she just went to the store by herself. And without Grandpa. That's in the same day. That's when she was supposed to go shopping for all of the stuff to go camping. Vernal's kind of interesting. He says he didn't find out until the day, the day before, like the day that they were leaving. He basically said that he found out. Well, Thursday morning? Grandpa comes over to the let's see, hold on. I don't want to get all confused. I haven't looked at this in a while. Let's see. Yeah, via call from work. So, what was it, Wednesday morning? Grandpa comes over, knocks on the door, and reminds everybody that he's going camping. The dogs barks and everything else. Vernal, obviously heard the conversation, and then he left to go to work. That's when Jessica went to the store. Well, then Vernal says that he didn't find out until the next day. And it's like, how do you not find out till the next day when you were basically told a couple of times prior to you finding out so-called at work? Because that doesn't make sense. So if you're going to go camping, you don't find out on your, during your work trip that you're going to go camping that day.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Yeah. And this is all on Thursday. So let's see. They left around 7:10 p.m. in order to make it to the camp by 9:30. They stopped at all these places. And to my knowledge, and to everywhere I can see, they did not purchase any gas on the way up there. So Vernal being scared of his gas gauge not working and all that would make no sense to not get gas on the way up there. But rather, he freaks out in the middle of his trip that he doesn't have enough gas, so he gets 2 times the amount. That I don't understand that. Like, why would you do that? So there's that. Like, no gas on the way up there. Gas definitely is now a concern in the middle of your camping trip, so you get double. What he does say, though, is really interesting because he mentions that the guy that pumped his gas was a redhead. He nicknamed him an MF redhead. Okay, so he said he talked to this guy.
An MF redhead.
An MF. I don't know how those some channels don't really go.
That's funny, but that's okay. It was just cute. An MF redhead.
MF redhead. For 45 minutes, talking to him for 45 minutes, he literally says that. And in my conversation with him, and in other people's conversations with him. So there's one redhead. Then he gets to the store. We're not there yet, but he mentioned another redhead. So it's like, how many redheads are there in this story? Do you know a redhead? Like, his best friend was a redhead. His boss was a redhead. So it makes me wonder. Let's see. They go to the store. Supposedly, they get to DeOrr. They get out to this little restaurant because they were hungry. They packed food, right? So they're hungry and they want to get food. Supposedly it's closed, so they all kind of pack back up and they leave. I guess Grandpa was allowed into the building to go to the bathroom. I just reheard that the other night. So there was entry to the building, but basically it was closed, so you need to move on. So they went to the campgrounds. Isaac set up his tent. Vernal and Jessica stayed in the back of the truck. Grandpa stayed in his camper. Vernal says that they were still hooked up, that he can feel Grandpa moving all night long, that it was so annoying. In Jessica's written statement, she says that they unhooked the trailer and then she put Grandpa to bed. So there's a discrepancy right there. Let's see. So they went to bed pretty early because they let's see, Isaac and Grandpa went to bed first. The rest of them sat at the fire for a little bit, but supposedly before Isaac went to bed, he said to Jessica, "Why did you bring a 2-year-old?" And in Jessica's written kind of like a screenshot, she states that her and the baby fell down on Thursday night around the campground. So I'm not sure if Isaac would have made a statement based on that. Why would you bring a 2-year-old? Were they partying? And then you have a timeline of them getting there at 9:30, and you have a timeline of them getting there after midnight. So that's according to Nate Eaton on the news. He says midnight. Somebody else said midnight. So now I'm not sure exactly. Is it midnight or 9:30? Another thing that's really confusing that happened on Wednesday and Thursday. Let's see. The aunt that lives above them, her daughter is, we call her cousin Keisha. She was 16 at the time, 15, 16 at the time. She posted a crying selfie on Wednesday at 2:25 p.m. Literally, she was crying. She was just like so distraught. And, that's a day that people have questions about. So why is she crying? Later the following night, right after Trina messaged Jessica, or they had conversation, again, the cousin was posting another crying post saying, "For anybody that, all my brothers out there, related or not, please hold me. I need someone to hold me," and she was obviously distraught. And then not even soon after that, she posts something in her page saying, "Fly high, baby boy," and then someone commented under that, and I think it was one of her aunts that said, "Dad died just like DeOrr did," or something to that effect, to where it labeled death. Yeah, you can you can find that in probably, I think, the facts page, the facts one. Yeah, it's really strange. So it's like, what does Keisha know? What does cousin Keisha know? Did Aunt Lynn tell the truth on her last seeing baby DeOrr alive? These are all questions. How did Trina pack the camper at 3:00, the way Jessica stated? And she's not there till 5:30, 5:45 after work. So, there you go, all these things leading up to Friday. That is
strange.
Really
that
weird.
She was posting that almost like she maybe didn't get in contact. Like, did it happen yet? Like, how weird is that?
Yeah.
That is so strange.
Yeah. And then, you got the next day. Let me see, so make sure I don't have anything on here. You have the next day on Friday, the day that he's supposedly missing. Nobody knows who cooked breakfast.
That was strange.
That was really strange. You wouldn't. I know when I cook breakfast, or who cooks breakfast, or what part I took a part in. Isaac doesn't even remember who cooked breakfast. So he's like, his words were like, "Did we even have breakfast that morning?" Those were his words. So according to Vernal, Isaac wakes them up and like banging on the window, "Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey." And it's like, dude, I can't even picture Isaac saying that. The way his mannerism is all these years, I can't picture that. Not one bit, especially if you didn't know them.
I was shocked when I found out Ivan got married to his nice wife.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not the kind of wakey, bakey, eggs and wakey. It's like, that doesn't seem, he's so.
No.
He's very, what would you call him, Kaz? He definitely like the type of guy that wears his heart on his sleeve. He's definitely passive, very passive.
Oh, very passive.
Yeah, and especially when Vernal didn't like him in the very beginning, and Jessica's never even met him before. Vernal had a bad encounter with him. Like, I guess Isaac dropped his luggage by the truck and was expecting Vernal to put it in there, and that started a little bit of a feud. So yeah, wakey bake, wake. That just doesn't make sense. It's not like they were friends. I
feel like he was an scapegoat. They brought him
totally.
for an scapegoat.
Horrible. Yeah. I think Grandpa was also one of them. If he wasn't involved, he was a part of the scapegoat. I think he found out later.
So he took it with him to his grave.
He sure did. Let's see. The morning. Oh, they both decide to. They both say that they were telling DeOrr rules, and they were both saying the same rules. Like, I was trying to get DeOrr away from the fire and do this and that. I was trying to get DeOrr away from the fire and do this and that. And it's like, okay, which one of you? So they double their stories a lot. They both, there's a timeline difference in both their statements. One says that they go to town at 1, and one says that they returned at 1 to be back by 1 and be back by 11. That's what Grandpa said. Be back by 1 or be back by 11. So which one is it? Yeah. They apparently got back 10 minutes late after 1. So I'm, this timeline is just absolutely just messed up. So they go to the store. They both say that they took DeOrr out. They both say they buckled him in. They both say that they bought him this and that. There's 2 receipts 17 minutes apart from each other. They stood in line for 45 minutes talking to another MF redhead. And there's nobody in line. According to Klein, there was only one person that came in between those 17 minutes that had a receipt. So it doesn't take 45 minutes to cook JoJo's, and it doesn't take 45 minutes to talk to somebody in a line. And Vernal's not a talkative person to people. I don't see him going to any stranger and just having a 45-minute conversation with him. And if so, I don't know who he was talking to because there was nobody at the store. And also, I don't know who he'd be talking to for 45 minutes. That's a redhead. How many redheads does he know? Like, that's a lot of redheads in that town, right?
And Kelly, was actually DeOrr seen in that store or not?
No.
There's been a lot of
no one has seen him, not one bit since Wednesday. Prior to all the suspicious people, he wasn't seen since Monday or Tuesday. So
was this the feminine product trip? The fem product trip?
It was a gas and a feminine product trip. Because Vernal needed gas. He was concerned about his gas gauge, and she needed tampons. They go into the town area. They find out where the gas is. They don't get tampons. They find out where the gas is. They get lost for an hour in DeOrr. This tiny blink of an eye town. They get lost for an hour. They finally find the gas station. They talk to him for 45 minutes. They go to the store to talk to them for 45 minutes, have 2 different purchases. No one's seen DeOrr. He supposedly was inside a truck. He was supposedly inside of, running around the store, flirting with the lady. It was like, yeah, that doesn't.
He was probably in the truck, all right, but he probably wasn't breathing.
Yeah, well, the gas person said they didn't see anybody, and they saw a car seat. They didn't see a boy, so the car seat was empty. Did they take him to the store, or did they do something with him on the way to the store? Did they?
But then to buy the extra gasoline, that's just horrifying.
That right there is confusing. Like, I'm actually, I guess I have the question still. Was it all put in the tank? Did he fill up any gas? Gas containers? Was it for fuel for someone else to help? Come up and meet him somewhere. What was all that? So those are my current questions that I plan to get answers to.
I mean, were they running a generator? Because I don't really think you need extra gas camping unless you're running a generator.
Right. I mean, how far was he? He wasn't like, yeah, it's not like they were traveling anywhere, right? I mean, this to the store and back. It's not like they had plans to go driving a lot more than that. So if they felt comfortable driving on no gas all the way up there, I don't understand how they felt like they all of a sudden needed emergency gas.
Yeah, I don't understand that. What is Just Mike says they purchased red dye gas, not regular gas. What is I don't know. I've never heard of red dye gas.
Red dye gas is for tractors and stuff like that. It's for all the farm equipment. You don't really put it in a regular diesel, but I guess that was all the gas and diesel that they had in that town. So that's the story, is that was the only gas. The thing is that Jessica didn't even get her feminine products for over an hour, yet she stopped at the gas station, or she stopped at the store already. And then she didn't get her tampons until the second purchase. So it's like, it's like if tampons were really important, I know that if I had started my period and I didn't have, maybe she had a tampon, maybe she started and she had 1 or 2 left. Give her the benefit of the doubt, right? Then you have time to run around the store. But the way it sounds like she needed to go ASAP. And it took her a while to get to her tampons.
And you think the period was code talk, that her period started?
I do. I think it was code talk. Why would you call your mom or text your mom that you're on your period? I'm sorry. My mom doesn't ever know when I'm on my period. I don't ever think about telling her, especially when I'm camping. Like, it's almost like the deed was done, or, you know, that's what makes me think that that's what makes me think that it didn't happen at the camp, because how would Trina be that involved in it if it happened at camp? She would be like a freaked out grandmother. She would run up there and be like, oh my gosh, you know.
You don't
I don't
think
know.
though Isaac would have broken if he did not really see DeOrr by now? See, that's the only part that puzzles me about the
I
whole
know.
thing about DeOrr being there. Was
Yeah.
Isaac, I think, would have said years later, you know what, DeOrr wasn't there.
Yeah, you would think that. I'm not sure if he was threatened to make sure he says that. You know, because the only thing he says is like, yeah, I saw baby DeOrr in the back seat when they came and picked me up. He was acting like any other outgoing two-year-old in the back seat. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. And then he says the same thing about him running around the camp. He was acting like a normal 2-year-old. It sounds like that's his line, you know.
The 2-year-old.
Yeah, an outgoing 2-year-old, a normal outgoing 2-year-old. How many 2-year-olds is he around?
Exactly.
I don't know. Kaz and I were talking about the tampons, and I said, you know, I can go grab my toiletry bag right now, and I guarantee you there's either a pad, a liner, a tampon. There's always something in there. Like, it's not like it's always in there.
Right.
And you're not going to go camping knowing you're going to maybe have it and not bring something with you, with the store being that far away. That part right there was a bad slip for me, the whole period thing.
Yeah, the whole period thing was a really kind of a mess up thing. But giving her the benefit of the doubt, what if she did have 1 or 2, you know, and she just needed to make sure she had more. So I guess I never really thought about that. So I guess I'll give her the possible benefit of the doubt, but it is really strange.
but what got me was they'd already, okay, give her that benefit of the doubt, but they'd already stopped on the way there.
Yeah.
So if you've got that benefit of the doubt, okay, well, I better get something while we're here, because there's an hour drive to get there and there's a whole hour drive back to the shop. So who in the right mind is going to do a 2-hour round trip for some feminine products? So, you know, common sense would say, I'm at the shop, I'll grab what I need just in case, you know.
Just in case, yeah, just in case.
You know, if you're going to buy food and, you know, some drinks or something to eat, you buy, you know, you get the just in case things, you know,
totally.
You know, a bit of toiletries that you may have forgotten.
Yeah, totally.
In haste, or, you know, what's the word for it? It was a drop of the hat camping thing. It wasn't something that was supposedly planned, you know, weeks in advance. So
I don't even know if it was a week in advance. It's actually changed a few times. So supposedly it was a week in advance. Supposedly it was like in a couple of days in advance. And you know, they had to stop by Isaac's house 5 times. It's not in their written, but it is. They stopped 5 times per their own words.
Why?
Yeah, they needed Isaac. They needed him.
So you're saying that wait. So you're saying right now that the day of the camping, it took them 5 tries to get Isaac to a hold of him to go camping.
Yeah. And according to Grandpa, Isaac agreed to go camping, and that he was going to go try one last time to get him, and if not, they were going to go without him. But, you know, that's a lot of tries, to be honest with you. You know, if you're planning on going camping, you're usually ready. So that doesn't sound like a really big plan.
It's a lot of people that know about it. You would think that if they got divorced, she's remarried. Did she ever have any more kids? Oh God, please tell me no.
No, she's only had the 2. She let the father have them because of her financial situation. You know, I try to find as many benefit of the doubts as possible, because it's like, I want to be fair, you know? So did she give him away? I don't know. I don't think she gave her children away. I think that it was just the best situation for them at that time. So I give her that. But it is, you know, a lot of people will say she didn't want kids. She didn't want any more kids. She didn't want DeOrr. And so that's why they possibly don't have them anymore. anymore.
And what about the rumor about the matchbox or his, like the shirt he was wearing? Something about when
The
she moved
cameo
into the
jacket.
apartment.
The jacket.
cameo jacket.
The jacket.
Okay.
They checked the storage unit, and supposedly they found like matchbox cars and the jacket that DeOrr was supposedly wearing when he went missing.
Yeah, so the Matchbox cars supposedly were like mentioned by Trina as his favorite cars and possibly even being on the trip, I think. They were found deep in the couch in a Ziploc baggie, according to Klein, stuffed deep down in the couch in a throwaway pile. Basically, they got kicked out of their apartment and the landlord threw all their stuff out into a pile and it was about to go to the dump. So Klein got there in time. There was a jacket found. Law enforcement will say that the jacket is not the jacket. And they're going to be basing that off of a picture, supposedly the last picture that DeOrr was seen. They are trying to match that jacket to a picture that they have. However, that picture is not guaranteed to be the last picture that they have. So they're matching that jacket up. I have to say it's not 100%. And I've heard Klein kind of give that somewhat of a statement. It's like it's not rolled out 100%. But, for him, but, law enforcement wants to roll that out. I think that the jacket is an interesting thing, based on a picture that they have, that this jacket could be not the same one. According to Jessica, they have lots of jackets like that based on her older child. It's possible. So the jacket, I don't think it's ever going to be confirmed 100%.
Wouldn't it be kind of warm though at that time? Well, I guess at night, being up in the mountains, it cools off, because it cools off here at night. We dip into the high 40s, low 50s.
Yeah.
In the summer.
Yeah.
Kelly, just Mike's got a question for you. He said, my question is did Grandpa have an oxygen tank, or is that not really, was that just
another good question? Yeah, another good question. I spoke to, I asked Klein that question. He said that he was on oxygen at the camp. A lot of all the other people say he was on oxygen at camp. I'm confused about how Isaac restates something of that. So he's in an interview and he's being asked by Nate Eaton, I think it was Nate Eaton, have you heard about Bob's health lately? And he said, yeah, I heard that he's on oxygen. That's confusing. So so yeah, that bothers me. Like, wait, was he not on oxygen when you were around him at camp? Like, Isaac couldn't have done this. I don't think it's possible. Jessica and Bob places him really close to the camp still. So Jessica sees him with a tackle box in one hand and a fishing pole in the other. So it's like, so you can't have a baby in that. He wasn't missing for very long. He was less than 10 minutes, right? So Isaac was around the creek the whole entire time in view of the parents and Bob. So when little baby DeOrr was missing, Bob said that he looked down at Isaac. Isaac says he looked up at Bob. He said that Bob looked a little distraught and said that baby DeOrr was missing. And at that point, Isaac went to go look for DeOrr and was found pretty soon, within a half hour, I think. So I don't think that's enough time to do something to a baby, bury him, be found by search and rescue to be brought back. That's just not enough time.
Isaac did anything. I think Isaac was used as an scapegoat.
Yeah, I agree.
Kelly, can you clarify something for me? Because there's been so much, toing and froing about Jessica and Vernon and Isaac when they go towards the creek area. Now, initially, it was said that Jessica and Vernon went off one way and Isaac veered off in another direction, and DeOrr was following initially, and then he turned and went back to the campsite. And it was said that Jessica watched DeOrr go back to Grandpa. Is that the correct version or not?
It's the version that many will want to believe. The version that I have come to the conclusion is that Vernal never left DeOrr's side. Vernal was at the camp the whole time. Vernal does not like to go fishing. Jessica had called into Klein's staff and literally told, I don't remember which one, but said that Vernal never went down to the creek with her and said that he was rather by the truck with DeOrr the whole time for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Okay, 10, 20 minutes they were gone. Camp, you know, so there's a lie from her already saying that they were never apart. But now she's like, she wants to come forward, and it's like private, in a private conversation, and it was recorded. And then you have, I don't have that recording, but what I do have is Vernal agreeing to Jessica saying such to the detective. So Klein and it was Caroline Klein. She literally had a conversation with Vernal and said, can you explain to me why Jessica placed you at the truck and not at the creek with her? And he's like, I'm aware she said that, and I don't understand why she said that. And he disagreed with it all, and basically said that she's, you know, twisting stories. And I'm sorry, but it makes sense to me because, you know, the lug nut story that he told me and the lug nut story he told Klein, I think he was pulling something from his memory, maybe approximately, you know, about the driveway, and coming up with a story about, you know, why the blood might have been found in that area. That's gonna, you know, it was never determined to be human yet or anything else. It was too diluted, I guess. But yeah, what's
I don't
that?
remember what blood. I don't remember hearing about blood being found. I heard
there
bones,
was some,
not blood.
yeah, there was some blood pathogens supposedly found on the back of the wheel well and the bumper and the tailpipe.
Oh, so that's where they get the thing that maybe they ran DeOrr over with the truck.
Yes. So they didn't have cadaver dogs at the site at first. They had search dogs, tracking dogs, ones that were looking for an alive child. But that dog kept going to the reservoir and back to the truck where, you know, that all was found. And that's how the police had found it. I don't know what the process they took as far as that. I do know that the FBI took the truck into custody and tested it and all that. I am told by some people in the higher up that it was washed with bleach prior to going there. Frank Bilt was he was the first investigator. He was actually present during this FBI and the truck thing. He doesn't really think that they found anything. So, you know, Vernal,
that's a bit suspicious when a truck is washed with bleach.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that would send red flags to me right away. Like, you're camping and we find blood on your wheel well, but you brought a bottle of bleach. Did they buy bleach at the store? Could you get a list of items of what they bought, or no?
There is a list of items on the store. There's no bleach on it, though. I don't know when that was. They bought this truck. Vernal bought his truck from his best friend, a redhead. He bought it.
I'm coloring my hair black tonight, Kaz. After the live, I'm taking you to the store when we're getting color.
So he, what was I gonna say?
Hey, Icon. Hey, Sassafras.
What's that?
I was saying hi.
Saying hi to some people in the chat.
So he bought his truck from his friend, and then he went camping. And in a week after camping, he sold the truck back to his friend. His friend supposedly totaled it, but what happened really is that his friend took it to the scrapyard and had it crushed for metal.
What?
Yeah. So by the time that, you know, Klein and everybody wanted to get to the truck, it was crunched. It was gone.
Well, I never knew that.
That's red flag.
Yeah. You can't. You couldn't get anything off of it.
This up, and the only thing is, everyone probably knows, but you need that evidence to tie them. So how are you thinking that you guys can possibly find out exactly what happened to DeOrr?
Well, at this moment, I think we're looking for a body, and there are some interviews I'm sure that will still be conducted. Either the searches will be where all the searches have not been yet, so they'll be on and off the mountain. I know that one of the places will be the dump. The other place we're hoping to get would be Vernal's dad's house. There's suspicion that something happened at home. Home would be in Idaho Falls, but the problem is that he worked on all of his cars and stuff at his dad's house. So, and Jessica also says that she got gas at a gas station across from the Clover Creek Hotel, which is in the same town as his dad's town. So I think it was like an hour and a half away from, you know, hour and a half southeast of where they live in Idaho Falls. I don't know how it would fit in the timeline. Klein can't fit it in the timeline, but I feel that it's there just may be something there. So there's going to be a possible search at that house, the property.
Does Klein feel that DeOrr made it to the campground, or whatever you can say, or no?
Yes, he believes he made it to the campground alive. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's an interesting little scary.
Yeah, because I've always felt that they.
Oh, I can't.
If he did get to the campground, I don't believe that his remains are still there, because
right,
the ground isn't conducive to getting rid of any remains.
Right.
So they would have had to find somewhere else.
They would have to be near water or softer ground. That's my opinion.
Yeah, because the creek area was searched extensively by divers, going into the little cave alcoves and everything, and under the logs. So that can be ruled out. So that part. And
he's not at the campsite.
What about that whole area, guys, in between the campground and going to the store? Like, that is some serious desolate area. Like, we're talking.
Yeah. I do know that there have been extended coverage, at least by Penner. He goes every year still. He brings up the National Exploited Children. I can never say this whole thing. He brings them up and their dogs and all this other stuff. I got the Cold Case Foundation to be involved. I got Trina to call them to get their foot in the door. They have not been utilized this whole year that they have been in the case. Penner does not feel he needs his help because he says he's got all the dogs he needs. He's got all the searchers he needs. He's got, labs. He's got this and that. If you haven't heard of the Cold Case Foundation, they're a nonprofit and they're huge. And they have their foot in the door. So at any point that any of those law enforcements need them, they're there. But they're not being utilized. So we're at a standstill, I feel. The third PI, Marshburn, has come and gone and very quiet. I don't know if he's coming back, but it's still at a standstill. And the person that really has all the stuff that they need is Klein. Klein's got all the original stuff. He literally, he's the one who interrogated them. There's, we have Frank Bilt that also doesn't believe in the parents. He doesn't believe the parents' story. He was ready to offer $20,000, and they're trying to do all the excuses they can to say that they're not supposed to do that. The FBI, the police are saying don't do that. Well, they didn't really get all that, that conversation from the FBI and police. So, he withdrawn from that case. He still kind of pokes around and checks up on it. I call him every once in a while and see how he's doing. Also, what was it?
Oh, I can't get the fire. I didn't realize about the gasoline. That's really bothering me now.
Yeah, it does bother me too. The gasoline. Yeah.
Like I didn't know about that. Now it's really bothering me.
Yeah. Also, there's what was it? There's a cooler missing. There's a cooler missing. According to Klein's podcast, there's a cooler missing. A blue igloo cooler, and that it was seen and then not seen. So. It's possible that he was transferred out of the campground. In that, there is a holding place that cadaver dogs picked up on. They picked up on this like perfect, igloo cooler size. It looked like they were trying to dig it as much as they can. I don't know how far they actually got down, but you will see Klein in some photos of actually digging that spot. It's called the holding spot. Vernal's phone pinged around that area as well, 1.5 miles down the road. He told me 1.5 miles.
You want to share some of the pictures that you have, maybe, like with Phil? So you're saying that the dog hit on a spot that could have been the same exact shape of that blue igloo cooler that was sitting there, and then it was moved.
Yes.
And the dog hit on that spot.
Yes. And Vernal's phone call was pinged in that spot as well. So,
really?
Yeah, and the cadaver dogs, they have searched extensively. So there's this thing called a diaper tree. There's a diaper tree. Like we call it a diaper tree because it's literally stated word by word that they changed baby's diaper, they put it in a bag, and she was only 2 times. There's two diapers mentioned. So one at night that got put in a bag and hung on a tree. we call that the diaper tray. And then the next morning, she said she changed one. And we don't hear any more diaper changing from that story on. Why the diaper changing was needed to be in a statement, I have no idea. It didn't really make sense. But the cadaver dogs hit on that tree. They climb that tree. They still climb that tree. They're wanting to get to that spot. That diaper was thrown away by the grandmother Trina when she showed up at camp to help search. And it ended up in the trash can of the volunteer searchers, and it never got collected. So there's evidence is just constantly being destroyed or thrown away, or all these things. Those are things we can't get back. We can't get the truck back. We can't find out the blood. We can't find out. I have a friend that was part of the searching crew during and after, and I believe it was after. I think it was a year later, maybe. I don't want to quote that, but I think it was an average year. They went back up to the camp area, and I think it was a little bit more maybe upper, like you keep going up the road, like where you can look down and see the reservoir. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so there was a kid's CD found, a couple juice boxes, and there was a whiskey bottle buried underneath a log and covered with a piece of wood. Now, all that was discovered. Problem is, the searchers put them in bags. I'm sure they didn't touch them, but they moved them. They put them in bags, and now they can't be used. I'll tell you the good news, though. That person still has all these items in bags. Oh. And is prepared to share those with the right people, probably Klein.
We need to get Bill.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how those would be able to legally be tied to the case because they were touched, they were moved, and they were denied by law enforcement to collect as evidence. So I'm curious as if the DNA on the whiskey bottle has DNA on it. And if so, I just think it might not be able to be used in the court, but it'll paint a bigger picture,
Exactly.
It's kind of like a lie detector. You kind of want to know because it will help your mind of which way to go. Not worried about this. Yeah, it's definitely been tampered with.
Yeah.
Hey, Genoa. Hey, Anna. Lisette.
But if they found the DNA, Kelly, that say it was Vernon's, I'm just throwing it out there as a scenario. If it was, say, Vernon's and or whomever, that can put pressure, just like a lie detector can.
Yeah.
It can put pressure on that person.
Yeah.
And say, well, look, we've got DNA evidence.
Right.
When is the last time that Bill spoke to Isaac? When's the last time you guys actually tried to go back and sit down and say, Isaac, why don't you tell me really what you saw that day?
Good question. I'm not sure. I know they extensively talked to him. They extensively talked to him all the way up till they got out of the case. Trina said that she's gone over there and talked to him. Now that's kind of weird. I'm not sure if it was like a threatening conversation or legit, I'm worried about my grandson conversation. I don't know where to place Trina at this moment. I keep it open with a few other things. So, if we're thinking that she's talking in code, those kind of point to that direction, right? And the whiskey bottle was mentioned by Isaac, and he almost wanted to retract it. He said that Grandpa brought a whiskey bottle, brought whiskey, and that he almost said that they started to drink it, but then he realized, wait, Grandpa's an AA member. so is he. So all of a sudden he took that sentence back a little bit. But there is a whiskey bottle mentioned. Mm-hmm.
And then we're talking about the whiskey bottle found that's still bagged up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, Andy.
Yeah, it's a little
time, Noah. Good to see you, girl. That is crazy. I didn't know all of these little details that
he needs justice.
Yes, he does. He needs to be found.
Had he been my child, I just couldn't stop. Like I can only go as far as I can go. I'm just a civilian person who is not related to this child. Had he been mine, man, I'd be on the news. I wouldn't stop. I don't
Nope.
understand. I mean, I get that there was a lot of drama. Let's just say the family didn't do anything to him, and he's really just missing. I get the drama tore them apart, right? Like brought them down. But you don't stop. You don't stop because of other people. You continue to go. That's your baby, you know?
Yeah, I would burn the whole entire place down.
Yeah. There's just, so that baffles me right there. Like, it's just like, it's over for them. Done.
Yeah, well,
Mom gets married.
I said to Ma the other day that it's just, somebody doesn't just vanish unless the aliens flew down and took them. You know, a person does disappear.
Yeah.
What I've always intrigued me is the Snake River scenario.
Yes. Yes. And I tell you what, I've actually had a couple searches done in that area. It didn't produce anything. However, the dogs were next to the best, but weren't exactly labeled as cadaver dogs. So I'm up for more searches in that area. But the cadaver, I mean, when you slip Snake River in your interview twice, and you know, that's memory speaking right there. So that confuses me too, and that would make sense to bring them closer to home, right? You know.
Thank you, sweet Melissa.
Yeah.
So wait, when was the Snake River slipped?
The following Monday in their first interview.
Yeah.
I don't remember
and you know,
that. What happened?
I'll tell you what.
What did they say about the Snake River? I missed that. I never remember the Snake River being involved with DeOrr's case.
Yeah, Vernal mentions it. He slips it up in his first interview twice. Like, he was tongue twisting himself, and so it was something that you definitely took note on. You know, I would make sense to bring him closer to home. And
he's hot-tempered, isn't he?
Huh?
Vernal's hot-tempered.
Yes, he is. Very much so. He'll flip in a dime.
And Kelly, what about the dogs?
The what?
The dogs.
The dogs. Their dogs, or?
Yeah, there was something about a dog with Chance.
At the camp? Yeah. So they supposedly brought their dog, a collie. Collie, he was DeOrr, like, she loved DeOrr a lot. So she followed DeOrr everywhere. The dog has been mentioned to, like, follow Vernal down to the holding spot, and comes back wet. And, you know, the dog situation is kind of weird. That you would think that the dog would know what happened, actually. I just don't know. I wish dogs can talk, because I think the dog knows. Yeah. And Grandpa brought a little dog. Supposedly there was 2 dogs, but has that actually been confirmed? I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know about the second dog. But the first dog, you know, she's stated by Jessica, you know, she looks at me like she knows what happened, and, you know, it's just kind of a weird situation with the dogs thing. You know, you would obviously, no animal got him, because if an animal got him, the dog would have alerted. There's only one way in, one way out. It's a really long
way in and a very long way out.
Very long way out. I mean, it's like 7 to 9 miles, and it takes like 40 minutes to get out of there.
So what about her answers when Phil asked her, how come you have no pictures of him at the campground that weekend? That was a little strange too. There's just so many.
Yeah, she doesn't really have any excuses. She doesn't have any. I mean, I guess, you know, I'm not sure if the picture thing is actually really important. You know, I'm just trying to picture myself at camp, you know, like the very first day or whatever. Do I think of my camera right away? I could miss a day, I guess, you know. But yeah, there was no pictures. If she's a picture taker, like I said, she would have taken something on the way up there, maybe, or
out the road, something cool, family camp trip, stop, do something. I take pictures of all the bugs. I send them like, oh my God, what is this? Like, I take a picture.
Yeah, that's typical. You usually do take pictures. So,
and today's with videos and videoing it, like, I don't know, something's just. But why would they leave the cooler there if he was actually in the cooler? Do you think they brought him there in the cooler? I can't even fathom.
No, I don't think that they brought him there in the cooler. Like, if he had died at camp, We believe that he was put in a cooler and taken out of the campground so 911 can come in and do their searching within the campground. That's why he went 1.5 miles away. He doesn't exactly tell everybody that he went 1.5 miles away. He tells people he went like a half mile down the road. I've had conversations. He went 1.5 miles down the road, and there was a ping found there as well. So, why would you go that far? First, he says he's hauling down the road to look for his son. Why would you be hauling down the road? I mean, first of all, he's a trucker. What is he hauling? You only use that word when you're hauling something. So, first there's that. Then there's you're looking for your son who has big boots. He's 2. He's wobbly. Why would you be going that fast? So that's another thing.
Yeah.
You could run him over.
Can't forget about the cowboy boots that he was wearing.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Fall down that road anyway, Kelly, because the road is too rough. There's no way you could haul down that road.
No.
You couldn't do any decent speed going down that road at all.
Yeah, and he said it was supposedly for 911. He wanted to get service and all that. The problem is he's heard in the background of Jessica's 911 call.
That's right.
And they're like 1.5 miles away from each other. She's also emptying her wet pockets into the truck during her 911 call.
Why?
Her 911 call, she's not supposed to be near the truck. He's supposed to be in the truck down the road, 1.5 miles down the road. So there is a lot of inconsistencies here as far as during the search and after. It's just baffling. Like, how are you how are you both in the same 911 call, and how are you emptying your pockets in a truck? There's only one
of those things where we don't know exactly how he died, but we know who was involved, and the fact that they still just walk around and do their thing, never talk about it. It's just insanity.
Get married.
Okay.
Within 8 months. Like, it was 6 or 8 months she got married. She was never married to Vernal, so it's not like she had to get a divorce to do all that.
Yeah, she was only engaged to him. We've got a couple of questions in chat, Kelly. Do you mind answering some?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Vanilla Cupcakes, I know you've answered this, but she came in a bit late. She said, did anyone actually see him at the campgrounds? Maybe he was gone before they went there. I mean, I know you said that earlier.
No. Isaac's the only one.
Yeah. Can you just reiterate when the last time DeOrr was actually seen for the people that came in late?
Yeah, he was seen Wednesday, supposedly by the grandmother, and then later in the evening he was seen by the aunt, the great aunt of his, for a dinner. There's questions that revolve around the aunt, but some people believe her, so we'll go with that. So the last time he was seen was Wednesday, July 8th.
All right. And somebody just mentioned the hauling could also mean that they're moving fast, but as you and I both know, that road is incapable of hauling us. Absolutely impossible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This person was Anna says, I have been very supportive of the family, but there are certainly some things to think about. Well, that is an absolute truth. There is a lot of things to think about. There is a lot of inconsistencies in the statements that have been made by both Jessica and Vernon, and even some slips by Isaac. I've always said, to be a very good liar, you have to have an extremely good memory to keep the story straight. Is there anybody in chat that would like to ask Kelly a question about DeOrr's case before we wrap this up? I'm sure she'd love to answer any questions you might have or clarify anything.
If you do have questions and you are late in the chat, or if the chat has ended, you can certainly message Justice for Baby DeOrr at gmail.com.
I will put the link again into chat. This is.
And if I don't have answers to it, I'll get the answers for it.
I mean,
Okay,
Kaz and I were putting together, we're getting ready to do a 6-month breakdown on all the cases that we follow. And I said to her, wow, look at this. We've added like 4 to 5 more faces and has only taken off 1. No, 2.
Yeah, 2.
Cleo and Brendan from Michigan.
Oh my God, that case melts
the
my heart.
best.
It was the best. It gives so much hope for other cases that I didn't have before. And I cry looking at her. I made a video of
My
it,
name is
and it's in
Cleo.
them.
Drop your YouTube channel link in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put it in private chat and we'll drop it for you.
And I'll drop it in for you.
It's just justice for baby DeOrr. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I was convinced. Oh, sorry, Kaz. I was convinced that there was no way he took her out of the tent. There was no way a big guy like that was going to take her. I was shocked at that part, but the thought that I'm convinced he was wearing his grandmother's clothes. You can't tell me otherwise. And he had just lost his grandmother, and his grandmother raised him with his long, black, beautiful curls. So
yeah, I actually thought I was looking at the parents. I mean, the statistics literally always look at the parents, and I'm like, I'm tired of looking at it like that. I want to see something that gives me hope. You know what I mean? And so with her being found, I was just like, I was kind of wrong right there. Like I wasn't leaning on anything, but I was guessing. I was second guessing.
Did you see his doll collection and know about his Bratz doll and who he was? I'm convinced he was wearing his grandmother's clothes. He was taking care of her and brushing her hair, and she was his real life little doll. It's creepy and scary as hell, but it's a good ending. She came out not harmed.
For sure.
She told the police that a woman would come in and brush my hair. It was him. You can't make it up.
Kelly, we do have a question. Anna asked, Vernal said, you took it off. Vernal said, other people were up at the reservoir the day that DeOrr. Will you stop it, woman?
I didn't do it. My hand's here.
Vernal said that other people were up at the reservoir.
My hands are down my pants.
There was I think it was a family or just a couple of people that were together, and they were interviewed by Klein, the Klein said they were interviewed. So
let me ask a question. I mean, I know that you said that town only had that red dye gas, whatever, but is there a difference the way those gases burn?
Good question.
Did you ever look into that? Like,
I have not. But that was I had that conversation last night actually.
I'm gonna look into that tonight. I wonder if there's a difference in how that.
It can burn hot, you know. That's another question. It's like they've been offered immunity. Why didn't they show him where he was? I mean, I know I'm for sure Vernal at least 100% knows where that baby is. So why didn't they produce him? Can they produce him? You know what I mean? Did they do something to his body that they can't produce, or is it really just a matter of lies that they have to stick to their lies because they don't want to look bad, even though they already look bad? But there's people who do believe them, like some family members and some friends. Well, let's just say that's an ego thing right there. I have 2 boys that are adults, and raising them was they lied, and so I know all about what liars are like, and they don't want to look bad, so they'll continue it. I do believe it was an accident, 100%, but they panicked.
Too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kelly, thank you so very much. And guys, please go and check out Justice for Baby DeOrr's website. And if you can, if possible, please help towards the fundraising effort to get the private investigator back up there. And the GoFundMe link is there. I've put it in chat quite a few times. If every person just gave $1 would help.
Yeah,
you're right, Huck. It is possible. It is possible. Huck says it's also possible they have no idea.
It is possible. You always have to have that possible, right? But with all the stuff that's out there.
Cleo and the doll collector. And
Yeah,
also
you're right.
Haddock, I mean, she's hopping around on one good foot. I mean,
You do have to look at it that way at sometimes. Yes, I agree.
so I'll
I
put a community post out also with all of this information.
Okay.
When I have to run to the store, and then when I get back, I will do that.
Okay. I appreciate you guys sharing this very much so.
No, you're awesome.
Yeah, it's our pleasure.
And we might not have had a lot of people in here, but we had the good people in tonight. And they'll come and watch it, and it will get out there.
Awesome. Gosh, I appreciate
We've
it.
been following DeOrr for a couple of years. Like, we don't.
Yeah, I see that.
We put it out on Facebook and Twitter as well for you, Kelly. So
Okay.
hopefully we'll get some traction for you as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And we'll drop those links. Facebook,
All right.
Twitter.
Everybody in chat, if you could share this video to get it out there for DeOrr, we greatly appreciate it. You guys are absolutely awesome. Love you all.
Thank you so much for coming up, and it was great meeting you. If you want to call and talk to us about anything or cases, just give us an email. We'll call you.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. I will do.
You've got our information.
All right. Thank you so much
for coming up.
All right.
Justice for DeOrr Kunz, though, without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let's get Phil back.
Yes.
And what's her name again? I spoke to her too, the blonde. Isn't that his wife? The private Christine. Kaz, what was her name that I spoke to first before I spoke to Phil?
Phil's wife.
She was the blonde that was in the DeOrr videos.
Did you say a wife to who?
Is Phil married?
I don't know. I don't know if she's his wife or not.
Who was the female private investigator that was in the videos with him?
MJ Holmes.
That's her. MJ Holmes.
Well, I spoke to one of the girls, and she was really nice.
She's very nice. Yeah. She's very nice.
Yeah. It's one of those cases, guys, where we kind of know what's going on. They could be innocent, but I'm going with the fact that it was an accident and they covered it up.
My charger. Yeah, totally.
Not in the camera, kid. I'm only kidding. So, Kaz, you gonna say something out there to our wonderful mods?
Yes.
Before we end tonight.
Yes.
They're all grounded.
Yeah. You mods. To all our lovely mods, thank you for being there. And we will be having a mod meeting. Look out in Discord.
They're in trouble.
No, they're not. Don't believe her. We want to get all together. We've never had one, and we want to have one to just go through a few things. And disregard what Mar says. Nobody's in trouble.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch with you. Like I said, call us whenever.
Oh, I sure will. Definitely.
All right, guys. Thank you all for coming in. Stay safe, guys, and keep your baby safe and stay vigilant.
Bye.
I agree.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.